In the following video, two men are out in Port Glasgow one night, exploring the grounds around what used to be the Clune Park estate, a sprawling complex of abandoned brick tenements that locals have long called Scotland's Chernobyl, a place frozen in time and almost entirely empty. They're moving through the dark with a smartphone flashlight, passing a public sculpture near the old high school, when one of them aims the beam up at the facade of a derelict multi-story block. He asks the other if he saw movement up there. The other says no. Watch.
Just watch this.
Isn't it? Future in hand.
430 abandoned flats, and there is something in the window.
Open. Yo. You see movement then? Move the light. Yo. Yo. The fuck is that? Yo.
When the flashlight swings back on, a pale humanoid face with dark, hollowed-out eyes is peering out from behind a tattered curtain in a second-floor window, visible for barely a second, before the light cuts out and the camera drops away fast. The man filming shouts out loud, the footage shaking violently as he backs off. If you look at the window carefully, you'll notice the foot appears only when the light hits it, passive, like something that was already standing there, waiting. Skeptics point to squatters, since buildings like these, mostly sealed but never fully secured, attract people with nowhere else to go. But others aren't so sure. A face that pale, that still, in a building that should be completely empty, that's hard to explain away. In this next clip, a woman is reviewing security footage from what appears to be a retail store, specifically an aisle marked on the system, lined with shelves and a cluster of large cardboard boxes stacked near the center. The timestamp on the footage reads around 7:30 in the morning, well before the kind of chaos that fills a store later in the day. She's playing back the recording on a monitor, and something in the footage has clearly stopped her. She rewinds it, replays it, and keeps asking the same question. Watch.
All right, watch closely. Watch. See it? All right, now no, it's not. All right, now. I'll rewind it, I'm going to do it again. See it?
A translucent, grayish humanoid figure with a visible head and shoulder shape moves swiftly from right to left across the aisle, passing through the open space in under a second before vanishing entirely. She plays it twice so you can see it both times. Some viewers think it's a reflection or a digital artifact from the camera compression. Others believe it's exactly what it looks like, a figure that doesn't belong there. What do you think is moving through that aisle at 7:30 in the morning? The following video was captured by a home security camera positioned high in a kitchen, shooting in infrared night vision, the kind of footage that only gets reviewed when something already feels wrong. The kitchen is quiet, the house is dark, but somewhere between the silence and the ambient hum of the camera, something else is caught on the audio. Listen closely. It's faint, a low, raspy, two-syllable whisper, with no visible source anywhere in the frame. Some listeners hear it as a name, something like Jesse or Ashley, though the distortion makes it impossible to confirm. This type of capture is what paranormal researchers call an EVP, or electronic voice phenomenon. The idea that disembodied voices or sounds from an unknown source can sometimes be recorded on audio equipment even when nothing is audible to the human ear at the time. Another day, around 3 a.m. this happened. Watch. A loud crashing sound erupts from the basement, heavy, metallic, echoing, and then, just a few seconds later, a low, guttural whisper cuts through the static. The words are hard to make out, but many listeners hear either "get out" or "help me," both of which carry very different implications. One suggests something territorial, something that doesn't want her there. The other raises a darker possibility entirely. 2 separate nights, the same kitchen, the same camera, and each time, a voice that has no business being there. You decide what that means. The following video was captured on November 7th by a home security camera mounted in the corner of a living room. A room that, at least on this particular night, wasn't as empty as it should have been. The camera's infrared night vision renders everything in black and white, and for the first few seconds, the room looks completely normal. A sectional sofa, a shelving unit, the hard tiled floor. But if you look closely at the right side of the frame, near the corner between the wall and the shelving unit, something is already there. Watch.
There was a record that I played out on that absolutely played.
A tall, thin, semi-transparent shadow figure stands completely still in that corner, and then, without warning, a picture frame crashes violently off camera, and the figure simply fades and disappears. Shadow people, as they're often described in paranormal circles, are typically jet black humanoid silhouettes with no discernible features. But what makes this one harder to dismiss is the timing. It didn't just vanish on its own. Something fell, and then it was gone. Whether the crash startled it, triggered it, or was caused by it entirely, that question doesn't have a clean answer. This next video was recorded on a home security camera set up inside a child's bedroom at night. One of those moments parents set these cameras up for, hoping they'll never actually need the footage. The room belongs to a little boy named Connor, and from the very start of the recording, something is clearly wrong. He's audibly distressed, crying, screaming, calling out for his mom, and the intensity of it just keeps building. Watch. Connor climbs to the top rail of his crib, and then in one violent, sudden motion, his legs swing up and his body pitches headfirst over the side. He hits the floor hard. That moment is deeply unsettling, because if you watch closely, the movement doesn't look like a child simply losing his balance. It looks abrupt, almost forceful, like something flipped him. Many parents who've seen this footage immediately point out the frantic screaming beforehand, wondering what had him so terrified before any of this happened. Others believe a small child in that state of panic could absolutely fall that way on his own. But that level of distress, calling for his mom, completely inconsolable, right before the fall, is the part that's hard to set aside. The following video was recorded inside an abandoned commercial kitchen, somewhere in Malaysia, by a man who entered alone at night armed with nothing but a flashlight and what sounds like a great deal of courage, or perhaps not enough of it. He speaks in Malay as he moves through the doorway, sweeping his light across overturned stools, scattered cutlery, and the kind of debris that collects in a space that's been left to rot for a long time. He says, quietly, that he can hear something. The kitchen is cold, dark, completely still. And then he notices the wok on the stove. Watch.
Aku dengar suara kau. Bunyi masak. Kualiti bergerak. Astaghfirullahalazim, astaghfirullahalazim. Astaghfirullahalazim, astaghfirullahalazim, astaghfirullah. Astaghfirullahalazim, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Subhanallah, subhanallah, subhanallah. Assalamualaikum, waalaikumsalam. Ya khadam, ya khadamurrah, ya khadamul jasad, ya rijalul gaib. A'udzubillahi minasyaitonir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Salamun ala Sulaiman fil alamin. Qala ayyuhal malaa'ikatu ya'tini abisha qabla min al-ifri min al-jinnati wan nas. Allahu Akbar. Dengar suara. Dengar suara ni. Dengar suara. Dengar suara. Dengar suara. Aku nak keluar untuk apa? Aku nak keluar untuk apa? Mana kau? Bunyi air ni. Bunyi air.
What happens over the next 2 minutes is one of the most relentlessly violent pieces of paranormal footage you'll come across. Steam begins rising from the wok on a stove that hasn't been used in what looks like years. Then the banging starts, fast, loud, metallic, the sound of heavy objects being hurled by something with no visible form. A large metal shelving unit crashes to the floor. He shouts, Allahu Akbar, and starts reciting Islamic prayers, his voice rising over the chaos, and the chaos doesn't stop. When he cautiously steps back inside after a brief pause, a deep, guttural, non-human growl is clearly audible. Not a creak, not an echo, but something that sounds deliberate. Then a second shelf shakes violently. Then the sound of rushing water begins from somewhere with no visible source. In Islamic tradition, the entity he's calling out to may well be a jinn, a class of beings created from smokeless fire, capable of inhabiting abandoned spaces and interacting with the physical world in aggressive, destructive ways. What he actually says is more specific. He addresses the Qadam and invokes Rejalul Gaib, the men of the unseen, spiritual intermediaries in certain Sufi and folk Islamic traditions believed to govern hidden forces. That's not a generic prayer. That's someone who knows exactly what kind of presence they're dealing with and is trying to negotiate with it. Skeptics would argue a derelict building can produce strange sounds on its own, settling metal, gas pockets, unstable shelving. But steam rising from a cold wok with no heat source and a growl that Lowe recorded that cleanly are harder to explain away. If you watch the moment the shelf shakes the second time, There's nothing near it, nothing falling from above, no chain reaction from the earlier crash. Whatever was in that kitchen wasn't done yet, so what exactly did he walk in on? The following video was recorded inside a home late at night by a woman with blonde hair, and what makes this one particularly unsettling isn't what the camera caught, but what it didn't. She and her husband had both just heard a voice in the kitchen, a child's voice. Specifically, it sounded like their son Gannon, but Gannon was asleep in the same room. Both of them heard it. Both of them agreed on what it sounded like. And then she started filming, trying to pull up her home security system to show what the cameras had caught in that exact window.
That sounded like Brantley, didn't it?
It did. I swear to God that was Brantley.
I told you I wasn't hearing things when I hear the kids talking to me.
Which one they're sleeping?
Oh my.
You just gotta ignore it and pretend it's not there.
That was like right here too.
It sounded like it was like...
Yes,
right here.
I heard it and I was like, was that one of the kids? He done left me out here by myself and I gotta go outside and get my bonnet because I done left it out there. Something just said something to us in the kitchen. And my husband was like, what? I'm gonna pull my security camera footage up. Listen. Hold please. Oh. Now the front door's offline. Damn. I'm trying to pull this up for y'all, but my husband. And the living room's offline? Hell no. In real time. No video. Those are the only two where it caught it. Sorry, I'm not trying to show my kids on camera. Damn. This is ridiculous. Anyway, y'all get the idea. I don't want to show my kids. No video. 10:23. 10:25 is 10:35. And then before that, that's where Brantley was asking me.
What she finds when she opens the app is that multiple cameras, the front door, the driveway, the living room, have all gone offline. The one camera that did register motion in the kitchen at 10:22 p.m., right when the voice was heard, shows nothing but a no video error. The clips immediately before and after that window play just fine. Normal family footage. Her husband walking through the kitchen. Her son Brantley asking what she gasped at. But that 1 minute, the exact minute, is just gone. She's visibly exhausted going through it, frustrated in the way you get when you've been trying to prove something for a long time and the evidence keeps disappearing on you. She even mentions she's gone through 3 different camera systems, including ones hardwired directly into the wall with an Ethernet connection, and they all seem to fail at the same kind of moment. That pattern is what gets people. A single technical glitch is easy to dismiss. a recurring failure that lines up specifically with paranormal incidents that's much harder to wave away. Some who follow cases like this believe that certain presences actively interfere with recording equipment, that the electromagnetic disruption associated with a manifestation is enough to knock wireless signals offline or corrupt video data. Others point to the specific nature of what was heard. A child's voice can be heard from a room where the child was sleeping, and the fact that both she and her husband heard it independently, in real time, makes it harder to reduce to imagination. But the footage of the actual moment doesn't exist. What you're left with is two witnesses, one missing minute, and a camera system that chose that exact window to go dark. The following video was captured by a man who had already grown used to being woken up in the middle of the night by things he couldn't explain, to the point where it had become a routine, something he no longer questioned immediately, but instead documented, almost as if he knew that whatever was happening would eventually show itself on camera. Before this night, he had been dealing with faint knocks at odd hours, objects shifting slightly out of place, and moments where he would wake up feeling like someone had just been standing over him, watching, only for the room to be completely empty when he fully opened his eyes. Over time, it became harder to ignore, especially when he started hearing low sounds at night, scratching, dragging, and at times something that almost resembled breathing, close enough to feel real, but never visible long enough to confirm. So when it happened again that night, when a loud sound suddenly pulled him out of sleep, he reached for his phone, hoping to finally catch something clear enough to explain it all. What he captured instead only made things worse. Watch. The door creaks open first, slow and deliberate, with no one near it. Then a small black creature lunges onto the bed directly at him, letting out a shriek that doesn't sound like anything domestic, followed by a deep growl. Many would immediately label something like this as a demonic presence, and in many reported cases, it's said that when something like this begins to feel comfortable within a space, when it's no longer hiding or limiting itself to small signs, it can escalate even further, sometimes attempting to influence or even possess the person living there. In this next clip, a man in Chihuahua, Mexico, had been running a studio space he'd been using for work. A cluttered, horror-decorated room filled with vintage masks, a porcelain doll, and a large, ornate mirror. He'd already lost a week's worth of security footage because the cloud trial on his camera system expired before he could save anything locally. Then, on a Tuesday night, while he was away recovering from an eye injury, his security camera triggered a movement alert at 9:10 p.m. He ignored it at first. It wasn't until Thursday that he finally came back to check, and that's when things got harder to dismiss. Watch. The security camera, the kind set to tracking mode, begins panning slowly across the empty room on its own, as if following something invisible. Then, a door that was slightly ajar in the background swings fully shut with deliberate, unhurried force. The doll by your right also moved without anyone in sight touching it. When the man arrives with his handheld camera that same night, he walks to a corner of the floor near the desk, a floor he says he'd left spotless, and points the light downward. Have a look.
Fijé un poco. Yo había dejado limpio. Y hay unas huellas ahí. Esos días hizo bastante frío, hizo mucho frío. Bueno, para que alguien anduviera descalzo, lo dudo mucho. Para la gente de aquí de Chihuahua sabe que no se puede andar uno descalzo en la calle. Y luego miren. Yo calzo del 9. Ese pie es enorme, está muy grande. No es mi pie. O sea, la verdad sí está muy grande el pie. Y le digo, oí pasos.
A large, dirty, barefoot print on the floor. He holds his own shoe next to it for comparison. He wears a size 9, and the print is noticeably bigger, both in length and width. There was no sign of forced entry, so from that point on, the debate around what's causing all of this only intensified. Some people are convinced the activity is tied to a large mirror he brought into the studio. According to him, the strange occurrences began almost immediately after the mirror arrived. In paranormal belief, mirrors are often considered portals, reflective surfaces believed to thin the boundary between spaces. Many cultures warn that mirrors can act as gateways, allowing entities to observe, attach, or even pass through. If that's the case here, it could explain the sense of being watched, the movement being tracked, and the idea that something is present without fully manifesting. But others believe the mirror isn't the source, it's the doll. Dolls act as vessels, not necessarily haunted at first, but capable of housing or attracting a presence over time. The fact that the doll moves during the footage and that disturbances seem more physical, doors slamming, objects shifting, leads many to think the doll is what's anchoring whatever is inside that studio. And then there are those who think it isn't one or the other, but both. Some believe the mirror may have opened the door, and the doll became the place where whatever came through decided to stay. Until more updates are shared, this remains unsolved. Now in this next clip, a couple decides to do something many people would strongly advise against. Sitting together in a darkened room, candles flickering around them as they place their hands on a Ouija board and ask whatever might be listening to make itself known. Watch. Before this moment, they had already experienced strange activity in their old apartment, which was located right next to a hospital, a detail that, for many people, immediately raises questions, because places like that are often associated with intense emotional energy, loss, and unresolved moments that some believe can linger. They reported hearing unexplained sounds, feeling watched, and noticing subtle disturbances they couldn't explain, which led them to wonder if something might have attached itself to them. So when they moved into their new place, instead of leaving it behind, they made a decision that would change everything, using the Ouija board to find out if whatever they had experienced before had followed them into this new home. Watch.
Anybody there? Is anybody there? Can you give us a sign? Can you give us a sign? Oh my God. There's no way. There's no way. Dude, there's nobody in here. There's nobody in here. What is going on? Oh.
Some viewers believe this confirms their fear, that something from their old apartment may have stayed with them. something that didn't leave when they moved, but others argue something far more unsettling, that it wasn't about something following them at all, but about what they may have invited in at that exact moment by choosing to use the board. And that's where the situation takes a more serious turn. Because people familiar with how these sessions are traditionally handled were quick to point out a critical mistake, something that might seem small but carries heavy implications in paranormal belief. The fact that they removed their hands from the planchette without properly closing the session or saying goodbye. According to those beliefs, that final step isn't optional. It's meant to close whatever line of communication has been opened. By skipping it, many believe they didn't just stop the session, they left it unfinished, leaving what some describe as an open doorway, something that doesn't simply close on its own. On another day, they decided to do it again.
Is anybody there? Is anybody there?
No. We have to get out. We have to get out.
Moments like this are often used as examples when people talk about the risks tied to using a Ouija board, not because of what is guaranteed to happen, but because of what can happen when boundaries aren't understood or respected. The idea isn't just that something might respond, but that once that line is opened, it may not always be clear what exactly is responding, or whether it intends to leave when you're done. And that's the part many people overlook, because it's not always about whether something followed them from before. Sometimes it's about what they may have invited in, without fully understanding how to send it back. This next video was recorded by a man who has been documenting what he describes as an increasingly aggressive haunting inside his home. And by the time this footage begins, he's already terrified before he even reaches the bottom of the stairs. It started with smaller disturbances, noises in the night, his dog refusing to behave normally downstairs, a growing sense that whatever was in the house was no longer passive. He blames the spirits for recent bad luck in his life, including a car accident, and on this particular night, he grabs his phone and heads downstairs because something has set his dog off again. Watch.
Nouvelle vidéo, on entend du bruit, mon chien s'est énervé d'un coup. Devient catastrophique. Les esprits deviennent agressifs. Oui, j'arrive, ma fille. Et puis à ceux qui me partent la poisse, là, il y a 2 jours, les gendarmes m'ont rentré dans la voiture. Elle était devant chez moi, mais la voiture est épave. Beaucoup de chance. Beaucoup de chance. Et l'excuse, c'est le keuf avait une poussière dans l'œil. Vous y croyez, vous? Ben, moi, malheureusement. Oh, putain, c'est quoi ce bordel encore, putain. Ça fait que ça, c'est incroyable. On essaie de trouver des solutions, mais rien qui marche. Cherche, mon chien, cherche. Il y a quelque chose? Oh, putain. Ça devient bizarre. What the... Ouais. Putain, ça m'a piqué. Ah. Putain, c'est quoi ça? Mais c'est quoi ce délire? C'est quoi ce délire, putain de merde? Oh là là. Putain, c'est quoi ce délire? Putain de merde. Ça devient n'importe quoi ce baraque. Si vous avez des idées, des conseils. Ah, des idées, des conseils, je suis preneur. Honnêtement, ça. Oh putain, c'était quoi ça? Oh fuck off. Oh sa mère. C'était quoi ça, putain? C'était quoi cette merde? Fille. Ah, putain. Ah, fille. Qu'est-ce qui t'arrive? Non. Non. Mais non. C'est quoi ce délire? Mais c'est quoi ce délire, putain de ça? C'est quoi ce voix de sa mère, la putain? Sa mère.
He claims to feel fingers pressing along his spine, then shouts out in pain as the camera lurches violently, as if something struck him. Then it got worse. The television switches on by itself, blasting loud, dramatic music into the dark room, and his dog stands near the glass door, with her tail tucked, too frightened to move. He uses the remote to shut it off, but within minutes, it turns back on, this time changing channels and raising its own volume, while the remote sits on the floor in front of it. Some viewers immediately pointed to poltergeist activity, a term used to describe a type of disturbance associated with physical force and object manipulation rather than a simple haunting. But the man's response to all of this is what makes the second clip even more unsettling, because rather than leave, he keeps confronting it. Watch.
Prochaine vidéo, j'ai décidé de me battre contre cette chose malveillante.
Horrible. Ça fait un moment que j'ai pas fait de vidéo, mais là ça empire. De jour en jour. Des marques, des griffes. C'est insupportable. Putain. Ah, c'est toi qui me fais peur. Alors, il y a quelqu'un? Putain, c'est insupportable. Putain. Putain, c'est quoi cette merde encore? Non, mais c'est pas possible.
He descends the same staircase again, speaking in a tense, hushed voice, saying things are getting worse day by day. Marks, scratches, unbearable. His dog startles him in the dark. Then a loud bang erupts from somewhere off camera. The camera whips sideways, and from inside a closed toy chest, a child's musical melody begins playing on its own. He opens the lid. The music cuts off the moment he slams it shut. For some viewers, a toy activating inside a sealed chest with no one near it lands differently than anything electronic. It feels deliberate, like something announcing itself. And if that's true, the question isn't whether it's still down there, it's whether it ever planned to stop. Now in this next clip, a man is riding his motorcycle alone down a dark, isolated road at night, heading to a wedding, when something on the roadside stops him cold. At that hour, there's usually nothing to see except the road ahead, so when something appears in the distance, it immediately stands out. Watch.
Fuck, man. Oh, fuck, basket! Oh, shit! Oh, shit, man! Oh, shit, man! Oh!
As his headlight stretches forward, it catches the outline of a figure walking along the road, tall, pale, and unnaturally still in the way it carries itself, not reacting to the approaching motorcycle, not stepping aside, just continuing forward, like it doesn't even acknowledge him being there. And that's where it starts to feel wrong. Some viewers believe what he encountered could have been a ghost, the kind often described in roadside sightings, figures that appear briefly, usually at night, sometimes tied to past accidents or tragedies, known to show up without warning and disappear just as quickly, leaving the person who saw them questioning what they just experienced. So if you were riding down that same road, alone, and that figure appeared in your headlights, would you slow down and try to understand what you're looking at? Or would you keep going and not look back? Now, in this next video, a man claims that every single night when he returns to his home, something is already there waiting for him, and he decides to prove it. The building itself looks abandoned in stretches, a barrack-style structure at the end of a dark gravel path, lit only by a single street lamp overhead. One night, he hears footsteps like someone running around the house. Shortly after, this happens.
I don't know what that was, so I'm gonna set up my camera here. Watch down the hallway.
Some viewers believe this kind of activity points directly to a poltergeist, but until more updates are shared, this remains unsolved. The following clips were recorded by a man named Johnny, who has been dealing with escalating paranormal activity inside his home, alongside his wife Cecilia and their children. And what started as something unsettling quickly became one of the most terrifying documented cases of vocal mimicry caught on camera. The first clip begins at night, with Johnny in a clear state of panic, moving fast through the house before rushing to unlock the front door with his keys. Watch.
Tranquila, ¿eh?
¿Qué quieres?
¿Qué escuchas?
¿Qué quieres? No te voy a abrir. No te voy a abrir.
Calma, niña. Tranquila, mami.
No te voy a abrir. Vete.
Oye, no manches, ¿viste?
Vete.
Esto es impresionante.
Lárgate. Lárgate de aquí. No te voy a abrir. Lárgate. Lárgate. Tú no perteneces aquí. Vete.
What makes this clip so deeply unsettling isn't just the voice, it's the fact that Cecilia, Johnny's actual wife, is already standing inside the house holding their daughter when that same voice, her voice, begins pleading from behind the curtain, begging Johnny to open the door. He refuses, and when the voice shifts, dropping from a convincing human imitation into a deep, guttural, monstrous groan after he commands it to leave, that transformation is what catches people. Many believe this is a textbook example of what various Latin American and indigenous traditions describe as a nagual, or a shape-shifting spirit, an entity capable of borrowing a person's voice, their face, even their entire identity, specifically to gain access to a home or family. Others point to a more modern framework, the doppelganger phenomenon, where a malevolent double of a living person is believed to appear as a warning or an omen. Skeptics argue the voice could be a neighbor or someone outside pulling a prank, but that explanation doesn't hold up well against the vocal transformation at the end. That sound isn't something a person does. The activity didn't stop there. Later that same night, the family barricaded themselves in the children's bedroom, and what Cecilia told Johnny in the chaos tells you everything. It's getting stronger every time. Listen closely.
No manches, Johnny. Otra vez eso, papi.
Sí.
Tranquila, mami, tranquila, no pasa nada.
Pero es que es mi voz.
Tranquila, tranquila, no es nada. No tengan miedo, porque si no, eso se alimenta de nosotros, ¿eh? No tengan miedo.
Papá, ¿pero quién es?
Tranquila, mami, tranquila, ven. No pasa nada.
Sí, tranquilos, sí.
Escucha, o sea.
No, sí está muy cañón, Cecilia.
Sí, es que ya cada vez está más fuerte esto. ¿Eh? Ya, bebé, ya. Tranquila.
A su máquina, no más.
Tranquila, mi amor. Ya, ¿qué hacemos?
A su máquina, no manches.
Ya, mi bebé, ya. Sí, mi amor, te da miedo.
Sí.
Sí, mi vida, te da miedito.
Tranquilos, no tengan miedo. No manches, tranquilos.
No, mami, no pasa nada, tranquila.
No manches, güey.
Espérense aquí, tranquilos.
No mames, güey.
Sí,
tranquilos.
Tranquilo, neto, estás temblando,
A su
tranquilo.
máquina, no manches, güey. A la máquina.
The banging that erupts on that door is violent. Not a knock, not a rattle, but something trying to break through, and then comes the voice, low and demonic, screaming for them to open up. Young Ernesto is shaking, but Johnny keeps telling the children not to be afraid, because whatever this is, he believes it feeds on that fear, which suggests this family has been living with this long enough to understand its behavior. That awareness alone is chilling. The entity had already mimicked Johnny's wife outside the house, then mimicked one of the children's voices, and now it's at the bedroom door, with a sound that no longer pretends to be human at all. A clear escalation from deception to aggression. Some who've studied accounts like this believe the mimicry phase is a probing tactic, testing which voice will get the door opened, and when that fails, the mask comes off entirely. Cecilia says she needs to call her mother, and given what comes next, that instinct seems right. This is a separate recording from the same home, captured on a security camera on the night of January 3rd of 2026, and it was filmed silently, with no audio. Watch.
Amigos, quiero que vean este clip de la cámara de seguridad que está de aquel lado, allá en la esquina. Este lo descargué el 3 de enero del 2026 a las 8:32 de la noche. Fue grabado, si no me estoy equivocando, el 2, porque yo siempre un día antes, un día después, mejor dicho, reviso las grabaciones de un día antes. Y pues bueno, han de haber sido del 2 de enero. Y la hora sí me acuerdo claramente que fue a las 3 de la madrugada. Quiero que lo vean ustedes bien. Voy a tener el sonido bajo porque de hecho se escucha una interferencia bastante fuerte. Pero denme ustedes su opinión, obsérvenlo bien a detalle todo y pues ustedes me dicen, ¿no?
The night vision footage shows a bedroom, a person lying still in the bed, a white rocking chair in the center of the room, and standing completely motionless in the dark corner behind that chair. A tall, slender figure with long dark hair and a pale, indistinct face. Then the chair begins to rock on its own, slow and rhythmic, while the figure stays where it was. The figure. Most paranormal explanations for a rocking chair focus on presence and energy, the idea that something unseen is sitting there, occupying a space. But this figure is visible. It's standing right there, and it still isn't the one causing the movement. Some viewers think the figure is a shadow person, a term used in paranormal communities to describe dark, humanoid forms often reported standing in corners or doorways, most commonly at night. Others, given the long hair and pale face, gravitate toward a different kind of presence entirely, one tied to the same family of entities described in Latin American folklore as La Llorona, or a similar wandering spirit drawn to homes with children. The digital distortion that pulses across the screen as the chair rocks has divided people too. Some call it interference caused by paranormal energy. Others call it evidence of editing. What you can't argue away as easily is the combination, a figure that was already there before the chair moved, watching, waiting, while the family slept. And when you place that footage alongside what happened with the voice mimicry and the violence at the bedroom door, the picture that forms is of something that's been in this house for a long time, patient, deliberate, and not done yet. Now in this next clip, a group of men are reviewing security camera footage late at night, the kind of casual walkthrough where you're mostly expecting to find nothing. The camera they're reviewing is in black and white night vision, pointed at the exterior of a building with exposed wooden rafters running along the top. At first, the footage looks completely clean. One of them says, "There's nothing, it's safe, right?" Calm, almost bored. They pan across the frame looking for anything unusual, scanning from the walls up toward the roof structure. Then someone spots something tucked near a beam. Watch.
Nggak ada ya, aman ya. Di sini aman, oke. Kita coba lihat ke atas sebelum atas sebelah sananya. Atas mana? Atas tengah ini.
Bebas. Terserah kalian guys, mau pilih
yang mana? Tuh kan nggak ada.
Itu bro, stiker ya.
Ntar kita zoom.
Stiker itu.
Ini stiker atau apa sih? Ini mah manusia.
Stiker matamu.
Manusia jurik. Susulin jangan. Gerak goblok.
What the zoom reveals is a dark humanoid head with two large, perfectly round, glowing white eyes staring directly at the camera from behind a wooden beam, completely motionless. Then it retracts and vanishes. One of the men says, "Manusia jurig," which in Indonesian translates roughly to a human ghost or demon. Some viewers think those eyes rule out anything living, pointing to the unnatural glow and the stillness before it pulled back. Others aren't so sure, but whatever it was, it knew it had been seen. Now in this next clip, a woman is alone in a massive stone cathedral in Norway at 2:30 in the morning, sitting at a large pipe organ and filming herself practicing, something she says she does regularly and usually without fear. But tonight is different. Shortly after she starts recording, she catches something on audio that stops her cold. Watch.
Guys, I love you all. Please don't do this in the middle of the night. It's really scary. It's 2:30 in the morning and someone's trying to get in, and it is... I know they can't get in, but it is still scary. I basically just sit here in silence until I feel like they've probably gone. But yeah.
First, 3 muffled thuds echo through the empty nave, distant, rhythmic, like someone knocking on a heavy door deep inside the building. Then, less than 30 seconds later, the sounds escalate dramatically. A violent metallic rattling followed by 3 loud, forceful bangs, as if something is throwing itself against the door from the other side. What makes this harder to dismiss is the setting itself. Norway's Gothic cathedrals carry centuries of history, and Akershus Fortress in Oslo is known for reports of whispers and unexplained sounds moving through its stone corridors at night. Whether whatever was outside that door was human or something else entirely, she never found out. You decide. The following video was recorded by a woman who's been dealing with escalating paranormal activity for some time, and by the time she filmed this, she was clearly at her breaking point. She's standing outside an old, dark house at dusk, the kind of low light that makes everything feel heavier than it should, with a stretch of bare trees and dead leaves just behind her. According to her own account, she'd been terrified every single night, and someone had given her a specific piece of advice. Return the camera she found back to the exact spot in the woods where she discovered it. She's not confident it'll work. She admits she doesn't have anything else to try. Watch.
So I've been getting a lot of recommendations to bring the camera back, right back to where I found it. Roughly right over there. And I think that's a good idea, I really do, but I'm just not sure if it's gonna work. I'm not sure if it's gonna make any of this stop, but honestly, it's worth a shot. I don't really have anything else to try. I'm getting scared still every single night, and I just don't know what to do, honestly. So I'm really hoping that this is the thing that's really gonna make it stop. I don't really know.
While she was talking, the curtain moved, like someone was watching her. What makes her account so unsettling isn't just the fear on her face, it's the implication underneath it all. She found a camera somewhere in those woods, and ever since, something has been happening to her at night. Some viewers think the returned object theory she's following aligns with a belief found in various folk traditions that certain objects can act as anchors for a presence, binding it to whoever carries the object away from its original location. The next day, she decided to check inside the old house to see if anyone was there. Watch. If you look closely, you see someone move past the window. It's faint, quick, and easy to miss, which is exactly the kind of thing that gets harder to dismiss the more you re-watch it. Some think it's a camera artifact. Others think it's something responding to her presence there. And honestly, either answer raises its own question. This next video was recorded by a man alone in his home at nighttime, after he heard the sound of glass breaking somewhere below him, a sound that pulled him out of whatever he was doing and sent him straight toward the basement with a night vision camera in hand. The hallway he moves through is cluttered and narrow, stacked with boxes and picture frames, the kind of space that already feels uneasy before anything happens. Watch.
Heard glass break. There's nothing down there but my windows to break. I'm leaving the house, man. You're done. Catch me if you can. I'm leaving, man. Have it out now. What the do you want?
What you hear at the moment he shouts his taunt is immediate, a loud, percussive bang that responds almost like an answer. Seconds later, a second crash, louder, more violent, sends him screaming and the camera drops completely, tumbling across the floor and landing face up. It's the final still frame that stops most viewers cold, a grainy, brightened image of a wall corner where a distinct, dark, humanoid shadow figure is standing. Some viewers immediately pointed to poltergeist activity, a term used to describe a force that interacts physically with its environment, not just appearing, but throwing, breaking, responding. Others think the escalating pattern, auditory first, then physical contact, mirrors what parapsychologists describe as an intelligent haunting, something that doesn't just make noise but reacts directly to provocation. He taunted it, it answered, and I honestly can't think of a more unsettling question to sit with than this. What exactly answered back? The following video was recorded by Ben Bauer and Zach Bryant, who returned to an abandoned factory they had previously explored, a place already surrounded by disturbing rumors, including reports of paranormal activity and a history tied to tragic events, including suicides that many believe may have left something lingering inside the structure. As they approach the building, preparing to enter, something immediately feels off. Watch.
That was too cunt. Hello? Hello? Zach. Oh my god. That was walking down. It was. Hello? That's it. No, that's walking. Bro, get out. Right, no, that's walking.
Before they even make their way inside, they begin hearing footsteps, clear and deliberate, as if someone is already moving around inside, despite the building being completely abandoned. Eventually, they find a way into the building, pushing further inside to investigate, but the deeper they go, the more the atmosphere begins to shift. Strange noises begin to surface, subtle at first, then harder to ignore. Watch.
I didn't hear anything.
Check the footage when we get over.
Oh, what the I can't remember if things were like this when we were here.
No, I don't think they were.
Bro, look at the water.
Fuck.
That was mumbling. I just said,
Yeah.
I got it on
Something's bubbling. Can you hear it? Is it? Bro. Bro. I feel like someone is here. Wait.
They call out, trying to confirm if someone else is inside, repeating themselves, waiting for any kind of response. But the silence that follows feels just as unsettling as the sounds themselves, because whatever is there doesn't answer. It only listens, and that's when they make a decision that many viewers immediately questioned. Instead of backing out, they decide to provoke a response. They bring out a Ouija board. Watch.
Feel that heat as you walk up.
Oh yeah. I reckon do a Ouija board in this room. Yeah, this looks. Knocking. Yeah. It sounded like boom boom. That was knocking.
Was it?
Bro. Are there any spirits here with us tonight? Move to yes. There it is again. There it is again. What the f*** is that? Bro, that was down here.
Using a Ouija board in a location already tied to death and heavy history is something many consider extremely risky, because rather than simply observing, it opens the door to interaction, inviting anything present to respond, to engage, to make itself known more directly. And almost immediately, something does. They begin to hear movement again, but this time, it's different. The sound of something running up the stairs, not walking, but running towards them. They didn't stay to find out what it was, and honestly, it's hard to blame them, because when something starts moving toward you in a place that should be empty, after you've actively tried to make contact, instinct takes over. Most of us wouldn't have waited either. This next clip centers around a moment that likely would have been dismissed instantly if not for one thing: the camera capturing it in real time. A young boy in a wheelchair is moving through what appears to be a quiet area, casually recording, with nothing unusual happening at first. Nothing that would make anyone expect what's about to appear. Watch. At first glance, everything seems normal, but when you look at the mirror behind him, a white figure is seen moving. Some viewers believe this could be a classic apparition, a presence that doesn't fully manifest in the physical space, but becomes visible through reflective surfaces, something that has been reported in various paranormal accounts, where mirrors seem to act as a kind of window rather than just a reflection. Without this footage, without that one moment captured in the mirror, this would have remained just another story no one believed, something easily brushed off or ignored. But now there's something to look at, something to question, and something that still hasn't been explained. Now in this next clip, a man and a woman had just finished saging their home and decided to go live on social media with a group of friends. Something that started as an informal spiritual cleansing, but quickly turned into something neither of them was prepared for. The house was completely dark, the only light coming from the glowing ember of the sage and a small blue electronic light nearby. And the mood, at first, was relatively calm. The man even says on camera that he doesn't feel anything dark in the room, but then the sound started. Watch.
I don't feel anything dark in here. Do you? No. It's probably because we're not like. Please leave. Or get out of here. You're not welcome here. Oh my God. Gotta leave. Should I say Jesus?
Yeah, I don't even know at this point.
We have Jesus here with the... Where's my keys? Okay, let's go. You go first. Go. Look where Look where it's at now. It's behind the couch. Y'all see that? It's behind the couch. Look where it's at, in front of the mirror. Look. See the mirror? It's in front of the mirror now. Turn all the lights on. Turn that light on over there too. I'll turn it on.
A sharp metallic clatter at first, almost dismissible, followed by an extremely violent crash, erupting from somewhere off camera, loud enough to make him yell out and grip the phone. He held his ground, addressing whatever was in the room directly, telling it to leave, even asking if he should call on the name of Jesus. And then, mid-sentence, a heavy thump cut him off entirely. That second sound, the one that interrupted him, sent him running. Both of them left the house for over an hour. But here's the thing, when they came back and unlocked the door, the sage stick, which had been sitting near the blue light in the center of the room, was no longer there. If you look carefully at where it's glowing, you can see it's now positioned near the mirror. Some believe this is a direct response to the spiritual cleansing, that invoking protection, especially through religious invocation, provoked a reaction rather than resolved one. Others think the object moving is the more unsettling detail, because it suggests something wasn't just making noise, it was interacting. So what do you think moved it? The following video was recorded by two employees, a man and a woman, working a closing shift alone at what appears to be a commercial food service location, the kind of place where most people are gone by a certain hour and whoever's left behind is completely on their own. According to the man, who started filming almost immediately after it happened, the two of them had walked into the walk-in freezer during their shift when the door simply stopped opening. No mechanical warning, no explanation, just a sealed exit and the ambient hum of industrial refrigeration. Watch.
We're the only two on shift and we are trapped inside. Literally push. Okay.
Oh my God, stop.
See?
No!
We are, oh wow, it's
oh my
real
God,
dark.
oh my God, oh my God.
We are literally trapped in the walk-in.
Ready?
Look. Push hard, push hard.
I am. Oh my gosh.
So, this is what the spirits do in this store. I can't breathe. Okay. So, I'm out of breath. Am I that out of shape? Spirit, is there a reason that you're doing this right now? Did we do something to upset you? It is so cold.
Oh, I'm freezing.
Okay, so this is some of the stuff that happens. So we're just gonna wait until it's done.
The man presses his full body weight against that large, grey, insulated door, and it doesn't budge. And then the overhead light shuts off entirely, leaving the two of them in the dark with only the woman's phone flashlight cutting through the cold air, their breath visible as vapor, and 6 rapid knocks echoing from somewhere they can't identify. He addresses the darkness directly, asking the spirit whether they'd done something to upset it, and the almost casual way he says it, like he's had this kind of conversation before, is what makes the moment feel less like a stunt and more like something these two already half expected. What's harder to dismiss is the sequence of that knocking, because it didn't come from the door they were pushing against. It came from somewhere else inside that enclosed space, and by the time they share that nervous laugh at the end of the clip, nearly every viewer in the comments had stopped treating it as a coincidence. In the next footage, things don't calm down, they get more structured. Watch.
It's 4:58. We're gonna call another employee and try to get him to come in if this doesn't open in time.
He better pick up. I'm so cold.
Every time we tap. Wait. What if I tap 3? Now you won't flicker the light? Really? Hello? Oh, okay.
What the hell? Oh my god. What the fuck?
It's getting so cold that my hands are pruning. This is good. Can you flicker the light if you are upset? Can you... I don't even know what to ask.
Can you put...
And this knob? Oh, whoa.
What the hell?
Doesn't even do anything.
The light fixture begins responding directly and immediately to what's being said, flickering off the moment the man asks it to, turning back on when he goes quiet, and the woman's reactions, the sharp gasps, the what the hell, the genuine disbelief in her voice, don't read like performance. They read like someone who keeps expecting a rational explanation and keeps not finding one. When a haunting manifests through light rather than shadow, some paranormal researchers describe it as a lower energy presence, something that can't yet move physical objects, but can draw from electrical current, a theory sometimes connected to poltergeist behavior in its earlier stages, where the entity builds from small disturbances toward larger ones. Skeptics would point to a faulty ballast or a worn electrical contact inside the fixture, and honestly, that explanation holds right up until the moment the light responds to a specific question in under a second. Then it gets worse. Watch.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Is there a reason that you have us in the walk-in?
What? Oh my...
What time is it now? We have been in here for like 15 minutes total. Maybe like 11.
Holy shit.
Can you please let us out, Spirit? Is Dan on his way?
I called him, yeah, he said he's coming now.
Okay. So let's just, I'm gonna literally go back here to the back of the walk-in so the fan's not blowing on me. Can you show my arm.
Literally,
I'm like
my hands are freezing.
pruning from the cold. That's how long we've been in here. Oh. I have goosebumps. Just flickering. Oh,
okay.
nope, that didn't work. I'm not understanding. Oh my god!
They ask the spirit directly whether it has a reason for keeping them inside, and the light flashes on in what feels like an answer, then later flickers erratically, while a cardboard box launches off the top shelf with a force that sends both of them into genuine panic. That box didn't slide. It came off with momentum, and the timing, right as the light was going haywire, and one of them said, "I don't understand this," makes the sequence hard to chalk up to vibration or uneven shelving. Some people watching these clips have started using the term poltergeist, which comes from the German words for noisy ghost, and traditionally describes an entity associated with physical disturbances, thrown objects, slamming doors, disrupted electricity, often linked in folklore to emotionally charged environments, or, in some traditions, to a specific living person in the space acting as an unwitting focal point. Whether that framework fits here is something you'd have to decide for yourself. The escalation continues into the next clip, and this is where it crosses into something more physical. Watch.
Oh my god! Okay, Okay, I'm back under here.
The light's like off now.
I know. I don't understand what we did. Can you just let us out? Like, it's so stupid. Okay, great. Thank you for that. Is there a reason that we're in here?
Is that like a yes?
I don't know.
Oh my god.
Okay, so... Okay.
Oh.
We honestly don't know what's going on, and it's just flickering. Oh!
Oh, okay.
Nope, that didn't work. I'm not understanding. Oh my god! Okay, spirit! Okay. Just wait, relax.
After the light responds again to a direct question, the woman saying, "That was a yes," when it flickers, the man reaches up and actually tries to unscrew the cover of the light fixture, seemingly trying to find a mechanical cause, and the moment the light goes out completely, and he's still holding the cover, a white container and several other items are thrown violently from the top shelf. The crash loud enough to make the camera jerk downward, the woman screaming and then laughing from nerves, because sometimes that's all you can do. He tells the spirit to relax, and the fact that that's his response, not running, not shutting the camera off, but talking to whatever is in there with them, says something about how far gone the situation already is. For many viewers following this series, that thrown object is the turning point, because light manipulation can be explained, a stuck door can be explained, but something leaving a shelf with that kind of force in direct response to someone disturbing the fixture is a different category of activity entirely. And like and subscribe if you're enjoying watching this video. The next clip may be the most unsettling of all, because by this point the two of them have been locked inside for roughly 20 minutes and the activity isn't winding down. Watch.
Know what's going on, and it's just flickering. Oh!
Oh, okay.
Nope, that didn't work. I'm not understanding. Oh my god! Okay, spirit! Okay. Just wait, relax. Are you in here with us?
Oh my god.
I have the security cameras up. It's 5:19. 5:19.
Yeah.
And Dan is hopefully on his...
Wait.
Dan is a minute away.
Thank God. Oh my gosh. Yeah, because he probably has no service. Dan?
Oh my god, it's...
The man touches the base of the light fixture again. It flickers and goes dark, and then in the blackout, a deep guttural sound is heard close enough to the microphone that he screams and drops the phone entirely, describing afterward that he heard a whisper in his ear and saw a shadow face before losing control of the camera. And whatever that sound was, it's audible enough on the recording that calling it ambient noise or a mechanical hum doesn't quite hold. He pulls up a security camera feed on a second phone, watching the exterior, checking the time, 5:19, waiting for someone named Dan to arrive from outside, and then the banging starts on the door from the other side, and both of them call out his name like it's the best sound they've ever heard. What they never fully address, though, is what made that sound in the dark before Dan knocked, because that came from inside the freezer, not outside it, and no one else was in there with them. In the following video, a woman is casually filming herself in the mirror, checking her appearance with her phone light on, like it's any other normal moment. Nothing seems out of place at first, until a loud banging noise suddenly echoes from somewhere else in the house. Her expression changes instantly. She turns the camera and slowly walks toward the sound, her footsteps cautious. The noise leads her up the stairs, and by the time she reaches the top, her breathing is noticeably heavier, a mix of nerves and adrenaline. She pauses in front of the attic door for a moment before finally pulling it open. The attic is completely empty. No movement, no animals, no loose objects that could explain the sound. She scans the space with the camera, clearly confused and shaken, before backing away. Whatever caused the banging had completely vanished, leaving her alone with the unsettling realization that the noise came from somewhere she couldn't explain at all. Sam is a member of staff at the Jefferson Hotel, a place that's already gained a reputation for a surge of unexplained activity over the past few months, and this clip only adds to it. He shared this CCTV footage after another strange incident left him completely shaken. Take a look.
Here's the shirt pulling episode. Right now we're talking about the footage, and look at my shirt right there in the middle, and watch what happens. Right there. So we both react, and you can see right here, I'll do it in slow motion and show you. Right there, hold on. Right there. The shirt just gets pulled a little bit. And then, here's our reactions. I gotta turn it down because there's some cussing going on, because we were in such disbelief. But you'll be able to see, I'm like trying to describe to her the feeling I got. It was such a weird feeling. And again, I can't say it's anything paranormal. In my opinion, I think it was, just because of the events that happened and the feeling everybody got, and of course that movement was really...
The camera shows the hotel kitchen looking quiet and empty, except for Sam and his wife standing side by side in the middle, casually talking while the rest of the room stays completely still. For a moment, nothing seems out of place. Then, without any warning, the fabric on Sam's shirt suddenly shifts and tugs outward, as if something invisible had grabbed it. The movement is quick but unmistakable, pulling hard enough to catch both of their attention instantly. Sam freezes and looks down in disbelief, while his wife looks equally shocked, clearly confused, and trying to process what she just saw. There's no breeze, no one else in the kitchen, and nothing nearby that could have caused it. They both scan the room, visibly unsettled, realizing whatever touched him wasn't visible on camera. Given the Jefferson Hotel's growing list of similar incidents, this footage only fuels speculation that something unseen is still actively moving through the building. And according to Sam, this was far from the last strange thing to happen there. Really early into the morning, CCTV footage captured inside what appears to be a salon or training space shows something unsettling happening in the early hours of the morning. It's around 4 a.m., long after anyone should be inside the building, and the room is completely still. However, the camera in the room suddenly detects motion, and what it shows is terrifying. Without warning, The fire exit door slowly opens on its own, revealing nothing but darkness behind it. No one enters, no movement can be seen, yet the door remains open for a moment before calmly closing itself again, inch by inch, as if someone unseen was pulling it shut. Just when things seem to settle, one of the mannequin heads lined neatly on the shelves suddenly tips over and falls. Seconds later, several items on the counter beneath are knocked to the floor in quick succession, as if something had swept across the surface. There's no explanation for the chain reaction, and no one is visible anywhere in the footage. Whoever or whatever opened that door clearly didn't leave quietly and wanted to be noticed by the owners. Who knows what action this will cause them to take? A father is always going to respond when their baby cries, especially in the middle of the night when the house is meant to be silent. That's exactly what Matt did when loud, panicked crying suddenly echoed through the hallway, sounding exactly like it was coming from his son's room. Without thinking twice, he rushed out of his bedroom, not knowing the living room camera was already recording what happened next.
Good.
As Matt runs down the hall, something disturbing appears in the corner of the footage. A small, nearly transparent figure, shaped like a young boy, darts around the corner and vanishes out of sight. Matt follows it instinctively, clearly focused on getting to his child, but when he reaches the spot where it disappeared, there's nothing there. No movement, no sound, just an empty hallway. Moments later, his wife confirms on camera that their baby is fast asleep, not crying at all. That's when the reality sinks in. The sound that pulled Matt out of bed didn't come from his son, and whatever ran through the house wasn't supposed to be there. The footage ends shortly after, but Matt later said he hasn't been able to explain the crying or the figure since, and the camera catching it only made the experience harder to ignore. Mr. Fender was filming a regular TikTok, nothing paranormal intended, just showing his followers how powerful his new lights were. He headed out into the woods at night to demonstrate the brightness properly, completely unaware of what was about to be revealed.
The lights are definitely functional, but unfortunately I live in a city and there are street lights everywhere. But I can find a place to go test them. Okay, I found some really dark woods. I just put some tinfoil over the reverse lights. So I'm going to show you what the stock reverse lights look like, and then I'm going to uncover them and show you what the added reverse lights look like. These are the stock reverse lights.
Literally can't see anything.
And these are the ones I just installed. Look how friggin' bright that is. This is amazing. Yeah, so these are not just for looks.
As he switches the light on, the beam floods the trees ahead, lighting up the area far more than expected. For a split second, something horrifying is visible. Wrapped tightly around the trunk of a tree just ahead is what looks unmistakably like a human arm, pale and thin, clinging to the bark. Almost immediately, as the light fully hits it, the arm pulls back behind the tree and disappears from view. Mr. Fender keeps talking, completely oblivious, continuing his demonstration like nothing happened. But viewers noticed it instantly. The comments flooded in, people replaying the clip frame by frame, all pointing out the same thing he never saw. There was no one else with him, no prank, no explanation for how an arm could be there and vanish that fast. The woods were silent, and Mr. Fender never reacted, making the moment even more disturbing. Whatever was hiding behind that tree clearly did not want to be seen, and the only reason anyone knows it was there at all is because the light was just a little too effective. He was out in nature filming quietly by himself, standing beside a wide river with a slow, almost glassy current. What immediately stood out was how silent everything felt. No birds, no insects, nothing you'd normally expect to hear in a place like this. That kind of silence is what made him start recording in the first place. He slowly turns the camera toward the opposite side of the river, focusing on a hill covered in dense trees and thick shrubbery, just scanning the landscape and explaining that something felt off.
Hay gente que hay. Mira, les voy a mostrar algo. Vine a pescar a un lugar muy escondido, pero ya me empezó a dar miedo porque mira cómo está. Y tengo rato que siento que algo me está siguiendo y se escuchan las ramas tronar. Y creo que encontré, si no es el hijo de Pie Grande, es el hijo de King Kong. Tiene rato mirándome, mira. Mira. Por favor, no van a decir que no lo ven. No mames, ya me voy a la verga. Ánimo.
As he zooms in, a strange figure becomes visible within the trees. It's hard to make out and stays idle. The shape doesn't look like a regular animal, and it's far too large to be a person given how remote the area is. The camera shakes slightly as he tries to keep it in frame, clearly realizing he's caught something unusual. After the clip, the man said he left the area immediately, shaken by how quiet it had been and how closely the figure resembled a Sasquatch. Many who've seen the footage believe it could be Sasquatch, especially given the size, posture, and the unnatural stillness of the forest right before it appeared. The following clip comes from a Ring doorbell camera recording late one night at around 10 p.m. when everything seemed completely normal at first. The camera was doing its usual job, pointed toward the porch, with the quiet road stretching out ahead under dim streetlights. Nothing looked out of place, and there was no movement for a while. That didn't last though. As the footage continues, something slowly comes into view at the edge of the frame. A strange, ghost-like figure appears near the road, pale and semi-transparent, moving in an unnatural way that doesn't resemble a person walking by. Almost at the same time, a bright orb drifts across the camera's view, floating smoothly past the lens before disappearing. The figure continues forward, crossing part of the driveway as if it hasn't noticed the camera at all. It doesn't turn its head, doesn't react, just keeps moving until it eventually fades out of view down the road. There were no neighbors outside, no cars passing, and nothing else on the camera that could explain what was captured. The homeowners later checked outside immediately after the alert and found absolutely nothing there. Whatever walked past that Ring camera that night didn't leave footprints, shadows, or any explanation behind, making this one of the creepiest doorbell clips currently circulating. For anyone new here, Ian is a well-known ghost hunter who spent years documenting some of the most unsettling abandoned locations across the Midwest, and this next clip is a direct continuation of his exploration inside the same notoriously haunted factory. By this point, the activity had already escalated, but what happens next is one of the strangest moments he's ever caught.
Dude, how do you explain that? This thing does not look easy to move. Not at all. Yeah, dude, this thing, there's no way. There's no way. Oh, dude. What the f? Wait a minute. Are you taking that thing? Oh my God. All right, that's it. I'm done. Oh my gosh. That thing is freaking moving all over the damn place. Dude, that was so insane.
The old cart rattles back to life once again. Could this be the ghost of the tannery worker taunting me to leave his area?
All right, I'm gonna let you get back to work, okay? Holy shit.
Ian is filming deep inside the factory, slowly scanning the room, thinking about how heavy and oppressive the atmosphere feels, when his camera lands on a large metal cart, sitting completely still on the concrete floor. There's no wind, no slope, nothing around it. As he continues talking, the cart suddenly shifts, then begins sliding across the floor on its own, as if someone invisible had grabbed it and pulled. Ian immediately reacts, backing up while keeping the camera locked on it, showing there's no one nearby and nothing attached to it. The movement is smooth and deliberate, not a sudden jolt or vibration, which makes it even harder to explain away. Moments like this are why Ian believes this factory is one of the most active locations he's ever investigated, and judging by what follows later in the video, whatever was moving that cart wasn't done interacting with him yet. The following video was recorded by a team of paranormal investigators in Carson City as they explored one of the state's oldest operating hotels, the St. Charles Hotel. This place has a long and unsettling history. Over the years, there have been multiple documented deaths within the building, including reports of self-harm and unexplained incidents that have left certain rooms with a reputation no guest wants to stay in for long. Staff and visitors have shared stories of footsteps in empty hallways, voices behind closed doors, and sudden temperature drops or spikes that seem to come out of nowhere. Some even claim that certain rooms feel overwhelmingly heavy, like stepping into a space where something hasn't fully moved on. So when investigators Patrick and Jason arrived, they already knew they might experience something unusual, but they didn't expect it to happen almost immediately. Watch.
Door. Whoa. What did it say? 198, 313. Ooh.
Near logical creature.
313 degrees.
Can you make this box go off some more?
82.
Here.
What the hell? Dude, there was somebody, 503. Dude, I went back in here and it went to 503. If I should leave, can you make this go to just really, really hot? If I should get out of here, 500, this went to 500, 150, 590. Did you get it?
I'm sure I did.
Do you know? Oh, it's so hot in 224.
172.
Dude, it is
179.
Are you right here? Yeah, no, it's like holding my hand right now. It's like hot right around my hand.
It's super hot right here.
And it's holding there. Something flashed on the SLS too. Can you make that go even higher? Make it. Yeah. It smells like it's on fire. Yeah. 151. Are you on fire?
39.
Is it going back down?
40. 111. 172. 151. Yeah, it hasn't stuck this like this ever.
No.
Inside the room, the temperature begins to fluctuate rapidly, rising and falling in a way that doesn't match normal environmental changes. And as time goes on, the energy in the space feels different, heavier, and more intense. It reaches a point where even they decide they've had enough. But just before they left, they capture something neither of them can explain. Watch closely.
There appears to still be quite a bit of activity inside the St. Charles Hotel, and even some guests that never checked out.
Right after a strange light anomaly appears, something else happens. A white, shadow-like figure can be seen quickly moving and then disappearing into the bathroom. And this is where things start to get really unsettling. People think it could be tied to the building's past, possibly the spirit of someone who once occupied that very room, still lingering, still moving through familiar spaces. But there's another theory that's been circulating, that the light anomaly may have been a kind of manifestation point, a moment where whatever was there gathered enough energy to briefly take form before disappearing again. So what do you think that was? A trick of the light, or something that didn't want to be seen for long? Now in this next video, a man begins documenting a series of events inside his home, and what makes it so unsettling is how gradual everything feels at first, almost like something easing its way in without being noticed. On the very first day, he hears knocking coming from one of the walls, and like most people would, he brushes it off. He assumes it's the house settling, maybe pipes shifting, or temperature changes causing expansion. Nothing that immediately suggests anything unusual. By the second day, the sounds return, but this time, they change. It's no longer knocking, it's scratching. Still, he tries to rationalize it, convincing himself it could be mice in the walls or something small moving through the insulation. Uncomfortable? Yes, but still explainable, at least in his mind. But by the third day, whatever was happening stopped being subtle. Watch this.
Llegó la tercera noche que no sé si escuchan ese ruido, pero estoy solo, ¿me entiendes? Estoy solo en la pieza y estoy solo en mi casa. O sea, no, boludo. No, amigo, no. No, boludo, se acaba de mover. ¿Qué? No, miren, para que vean que abajo no hay nadie, boludo. Posta. O sea, no estoy jodiendo ni nada. O sea, te juro que no hay nadie, estoy yo solo acá.
And this is where things take a different turn entirely, because viewers quickly started pointing out something in the room that he didn't seem to question at first. The empty chair. It's positioned in a way that feels intentional, almost like it's meant to be used, and it's facing a mirror. Now, this might seem like a small detail, but in paranormal discussions, it's often brought up as something you shouldn't overlook. Some believe that leaving an empty chair like that can act as a kind of invitation, especially if it's placed as though someone is expected to sit there. And when that chair is facing a mirror, it adds another layer entirely. because mirrors are often thought of as gateways or amplifiers, reflecting more than just physical images. At this point, he has just one question. How does he stop all these from happening? The following video was recorded by a man who goes by Derry, someone who works at the Valley Plaza Mall, a location that, while still active during the day, has quietly picked up its own share of unsettling rumors after hours. Some people who have worked late shifts there have mentioned hearing footsteps in empty corridors, distant voices when entire sections are closed, and even the faint sound of children playing or laughing long after the mall has cleared out. Most brush it off as echoes traveling through the building, but not everyone is convinced. While walking through the mall, Derry suddenly heard something that made him stop, the sound of kids laughing. The problem is, he was completely alone, so he pulled out his camera. Watch this.
On everything I love, I just heard a group of kids over here laughing. On everything, bro. I just heard a group of kids laughing. Where the hell the kids at? What the fuck? Bro, I know I'm not tripping, bro. I just heard a whole bunch of kids laughing, bro. You hear that shit? What the Bro, I'm in the mall by myself. Where the is it coming from? I know y'all heard that shit. Bro, what the I'm about to get about this bitch. What the is that? What the that? Staring right at me. Right there. My heart beating fast as bro. I'm scared as fuck. There's a person right there in a red shirt right in front of me. Right there, y'all see him. There's a person right there. Bro, what the f? No, he just standing there. Bro, look, he just standing there, bro. Bro. I'm out of here.
There have been claims that certain locations can hold on to emotional imprints, especially places where large numbers of people gather over time. If that's true, then sounds like this might not be random at all. They might be echoes of moments that never fully left. This next video was recorded inside Willard Library, a place widely known not just for its books, but for something far more unsettling that has kept its reputation alive for decades. The library is said to be haunted by a spirit often referred to as the Grey Lady, a presence that staff and visitors have reported seeing for years. People have described catching glimpses of a woman in grey moving between shelves, hearing footsteps in empty hallways, and even witnessing objects shift when no one is around. Some employees have even claimed that certain areas of the library feel heavier than others, like you're being watched the moment you step in. On this particular day, a librarian was closing up when she suddenly started hearing a strange sound. Listen closely.
I can hear you back there. Why don't you show yourself to me? I know this is your home. And I mean you no disrespect. I'm just curious about you. Like why you're here and who you are. My name's Missy. I'd love to know more about you.
After the video was shared, people quickly came forward with their own experiences. One man described how he had only been inside for about 10 minutes, simply printing a document for work, when he suddenly felt someone standing right next to him. He said the feeling was immediate, chills running through his entire body, and when he looked, there was no one there. What made it worse was the reaction of the staff member nearby. She saw him panic and calmly said, "Yeah, that happens all the time." He left immediately and never returned. Stories like this are exactly why many believe the presence in that library isn't just residual, but aware. Some think the so-called Grey Lady may still be wandering the halls, attached to the building for reasons unknown, occasionally making herself known to those who happen to cross her path. Others believe the energy in the building has simply built up over time, creating moments where the line between what's seen and unseen becomes thinner. Now in this next video, a man who is known for collecting statues with unusual and often tragic histories shares something he captured inside his home, and unlike most of his collection, this one seems to react. Over time, he had built a habit of researching the background of each piece he brought in, often finding that many of them were tied to loss, memory, or emotional significance, which is exactly why some people believe objects like these can sometimes carry more than just their physical form. On this particular day, he was simply playing a song when this happened. Watch closely. If you pay attention, the statue appears to move, not dramatically, but just enough to raise questions. Some believe that objects with heavy emotional or historical backgrounds can, in rare cases, become vessels for lingering energy, especially if they were once meaningful to someone who experienced deep attachment or loss. According to this theory, the song may not have been random at all. It could have triggered something familiar, something that resonated with whatever is tied to the object. So what do you think this was? A coincidence? Or something reacting to a memory it never let go of? The following video was recorded by a woman named Alex, who began noticing something unsettling about the house right next to hers, a place that, by all accounts, should have been completely empty. The neighbor who lived there had sadly passed away after a heart attack, and since then, the house had remained untouched. No family moved in, no renovations, no new tenants, just a quiet, closed space that hadn't shown any sign of life for a long time, until Alex started noticing something that didn't add up. For several nights in a row, lights inside the house would suddenly turn on, and then off again, at different times, with no clear pattern. So one night, she decided to record it. Watch this.
It just looked like somebody, or it still looks like someone's looking out the window, but I can't tell. Does that look like a whole person standing there in that window? Like kind of looking out?
It's the refrigerator.
Okay. See the handle of it. No one. That's the neighbors.
No, that dark window.
But that's his bedroom. Another bedroom.
That window was open. That window wasn't open.
No.
That window hasn't been open.
No.
You look at that house every day.
No one's been in this house since he passed, other than when they came and redid the floors and everything to get it so people can move in it, but no one's even come and looked at the property. Let me try something. Okay. I haven't done this filter in a minute. Let me see if it works. Hold on. Okay. Alright. I hate when it does that. Let's see if I can get it. Let me go out to my porch real quick. Alright.
Oh.
See, it's doing that every time. No, I know.
Leave it alone.
Let me try it one more time. Alright, so I just turned the filter off so I can zoom in one more time. Y'all, I don't know what's going on. But it's not normal. He won't let me go over there and investigate any further. There's that open window again. And the light's not even on over there. It's just literally on in his living room. And that's where he always chilled, was in his living room.
I know. But...
Alright, I'm going to end it here, y'all. I'll update you in a little while if I see anything.
Her first thought was simple. Maybe the lights were on a timer. But when she reached out to the landlord to confirm, the answer made things worse. There was no timer installed. No one had been inside the house. And according to him, no new tenant had moved in. So if that's the case, then who or what is turning the lights on? If the former owner had a strong attachment to that space, some believe it's possible that part of him never truly left, that what Alex is seeing could be a presence continuing its normal patterns, unaware or unwilling to move on. But like always, you be the judge. The following video is about a man who believes he's living in a haunted apartment, and not because of what single incident, but because of a series of small, unsettling experiences that have slowly built up over time. He's mentioned hearing movement in rooms he just left, faint sounds at night when everything should be quiet, and that constant feeling of being watched, especially when the lights are off. One evening, something happened that he couldn't explain away. Watch closely.
Watch.
Tell me I'm not on fucking crack, dude. Hell no. What the f? Dude, I'm out of here.
In the moment the light switches on, you can briefly see what looks like a figure entering the frame, but almost instantly, as the light fully comes back, there's nothing there. No movement, no shadow, no one standing where something clearly just was. There's a theory that whatever it is might be avoiding direct visibility, choosing moments where it can appear just enough to be noticed, but never long enough to be confirmed. And if that's the case, then it wasn't caught by accident. It let itself be seen. And if you think nothing was there, then what walked into frame the moment the light came on? And more importantly, where did it go? Until more updates are shared, this remains a mystery. In the following video, a man was walking through a storage complex late at night when he noticed something strange reflecting off the side of a stack of boxes. At first, it looked like the shadow of a person standing completely still, but the moment he turned the corner to see who was there, the entire space ahead of him was empty. Take a look.
Quiero que chequen algo. En esa tarima de ahí. Eso. Y chequen, estoy yo solo. No hay nadie aquí. Ni de este lado, ni para acá. Vean, nada. Puto almacén vacío, está su pinche madre.
He slowly walks down the long, stretched aisle between the rows of storage units, sweeping his light left and right as he passes each gap. But there's nobody. The space is silent, the concrete floors untouched, and no weird sounds echo. The shadow he saw moments earlier should have belonged to someone standing right there, yet there's no sign of movement, no footsteps, and nowhere to hide. By the end of the clip, he's fully convinced he saw something that wasn't human, and he wasn't wrong. Later on, security footage from the facility was checked, and it confirmed that not a single person entered or exited during the time he filmed. Whatever cast that shadow wasn't supposed to be there, and it left no trace behind except the moment it revealed itself. Basements are the most likely place in somebody's house to be haunted, and for Taz, that idea has basically become a daily reality. Activity in his basement has picked up so much recently that he now films every single time he goes down there, just in case something happens. This time, he was carrying a load of laundry down the stairs, trying to act normal, even though he admits the place never feels empty.
A ghost lives in my basement. Activities have picked up, so I decided to record every time I go down there. This time I caught it on video.
He sets the laundry on the counter, the camera catching the whole room behind him while he starts sorting through clothes and loading them into the washing machine. Everything is quiet for a moment, just the sound of fabric rustling, until something in the background suddenly moves. A bright yellow object sitting on the wall shifts on its own in a very obvious way, like someone nudged it. Taz doesn't notice at first, still focused on the washer, but the object continues to wobble before collapsing entirely a few seconds later, falling off the shelf as if pushed. There's nobody else in the basement, no draft, nothing touching it. This wasn't a light object being blown over either. It was something heavy enough that it only ever moves when something interacts with it. For Taz, it's just more evidence that whatever is living in that basement hasn't calmed down at all and might actually be getting stronger. In a haunted housing complex, the Scottish Ghost Company returned to one of the strangest locations they've ever investigated, an abandoned multi-house property where they've had responses before. It's just the two of them. A man and a woman walking slowly through the empty rooms with nothing but their flashlights cutting through the darkness. They remind viewers that nobody else is anywhere in the entire complex, and the silence around them feels impossibly heavy. Eventually, they step into a room they call one of the most active spots in the building and greet whatever spirit might still linger there. They ask if it can open the door for them, half expecting nothing to happen, but of course, something does.
Hi everybody, I know you can't see us very well, but we are here.
Hi!
Hi. We are alone in a building which, sorry, I'm just going to turn you around. Yeah, we are alone in this old
warehouse complex.
We have set up our own wee video. We've been live on Facebook and we've had quite good responses from a door moving on its own in here.
So the only other living person is the security guard, who is about 3 buildings away. So there's absolutely nobody except us in the whole area.
So we've heard so many loud bangs in here. So we're going to try and do it again. Hi Spirit, we're back again. Is that? There we go. Well, when we left this, it was open.
It was wide open.
Spirit, if you're still with us, I know I said I wasn't coming back. Could you?
I'm so impressed with what you were able to do.
Can you open the door, please, if you're still with us?
Oh my god.
Thank you so much. What?
Oh my god.
Okay, Spirit, thank you. Can you close it again, please? Close the door over, please. We're really impressed. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh my god.
Well done. Now...
A moment later, the door begins to move, slowly and smoothly, swinging fully open without a single creak. Both of them stare with wide eyes, shocked, but keeping surprisingly calm as they thank the spirit. Then they ask if it can close the door again multiple times, but there's a brief pause before the door gently pulls itself shut, the same smooth movement as before. The whole interaction is clear, controlled, and impossible to explain, but at least the investigators and I got content. A team of paranormal agents were visiting a preserved heritage home that once caught fire decades ago. They had been invited to document any lingering activity, and on this particular night they decided to use a Ouija board, along with a few basic pieces of equipment to see if anything would respond. The room was calm at first, quiet except for the soft beeps of their devices checking for movement or EMF spikes. Take a look.
Steven was a name that we had come to know throughout our time there that could potentially unravel some of the story that we had come to find out.
So we're trying to see if anybody's here.
Maybe somebody named Steven or...
Immediately the REM pod as soon as he said Steven.
And it hasn't gone off.
It hasn't gone off
in
even
hours.
During the live stream. It didn't go off at all. And solid. It did go off earlier that one time in the bathroom, but...
That's really weird.
What was that?
Yeah, you heard that too?
Yeah, it was a shh. I heard something behind me. Oh my god. Okay, let's say goodbye.
As soon as one of them mentioned the name Steven, a former resident who lived there before the fire, the equipment lit up instantly, as if something was acknowledging the name. Shortly after, they heard something strange say, "Find me to them both," as if beckoning them to explore this place further. Both investigators froze, shocked by how clear and direct the message was. While they tried to process it, something else in the room started drawing their attention. On the far wall, an old decoration hanging from a hook began to gently sway back and forth, even though nobody was near it. The rest of the room remained still. No windows open, nothing that could have caused it. The timing made it feel like Stephen, or whatever answered to that name, was trying to guide them somewhere, or warn them of something he could not show himself. The agents quickly realized they were dealing with something intelligent, and this heritage home still held more secrets than anyone imagined. It started as one of those nights where the silence feels heavier than sleep, and this guy at Camp Shields in Okinawa, Japan, could tell something was off the moment he sat up in the dark feeling watched. He had just thrown his helmet toward the door where he swore the presence came from, and now he was talking into the empty room like he expected something to answer, almost pleading for the ghost to show it was real. It had already woken him up, so why not continue?
I didn't just see a hand. You mad or what? You mad I threw that helmet at you? Do it again. Make some noise. Show me you're real. Island. Show me. Satan ass motherfucker. Show me. Prove to me that you're real. Do it. What, you mad? Show me. Swing some shit. Make them noises and shit that you did when you woke me up. Do it. Do it. Do it. Oh my gosh, bro.
He waits, hears knocking like the ghost is getting mad, and an orb crosses the screen. The moment that orb drifts by, his whole energy shifts because he knows he didn't imagine that knock, and he definitely didn't imagine something moving across the room. You can hear the nervous laugh behind his voice, but also that moment of regret when it hits him that maybe he pushed a little too hard. People always think they want proof until the lights go quiet again, and you're alone with whatever just answered you, and he suddenly seems very aware that asking for a sign might have invited something closer than he ever expected. It picked up right where he left off, the room still feeling tight and charged, like the air didn't reset after that orb passed, and he kept the camera pointed at the corner because he swore something was still moving in there. He tried to steady his breathing, but before he even got close to being calm, the cupboard behind him opened and slammed shut like something inside was answering with attitude.
Part 2.
Bro. Hey! Hey, chill the f out. I'm tired of your shit. Hey! Cut that shit off. Shut the fuck up!
He turns, trying to get a good angle while filming as two knocks hit from inside the cupboard. He tells it to chill the fuck out. Then a harsh scraping sound erupts, followed by something falling to the floor. The sound sends him spinning back toward the camera, because that scrape was way too real and way too close for him to pretend it was nothing. And you can hear in his voice that it is no longer curiosity pushing him forward, but straight up panic holding him in place. There is this moment where he just freezes, staring at the cupboard like he is waiting to see if whatever is in there is going to come out. And you can tell he knows he crossed a line. He had asked for proof, and now it felt like something was trying to claw its way into the room just to give it to him. And that regret hit him harder than anything the ghost could throw.